Welcome to the Manhood Neat podcast. Welcome, everybody, back to the bunker. This is Aaron, and I'm excited to have a table full of guys to jump into some discussion tonight. We've got Ben Lewis here.
Good to see y'all, or hear y'all, or something.
We got Dylan Snyder.
Happy to be back.
Happy to be back. And we got a special guest because we are 2 men down. So we called in
the big shot.
Calling in the big shot.
A ringer.
The ringer. Yep. He
Mr.
came
Hollywood.
highly recommended from Ben Lewis.
I'll vouch for him.
Yeah. We got Nate Lewis. Congratulations on your recent graduation and welcome to the show.
Congrats, man.
Thank you, Aaron and Dylan. It's a pleasure to be on here. Cool opportunity.
Sweet. Yeah, man. We're excited to have you. So we're going to start with you. We always kind of start off with what's kind of going on, what's been happening. So we know that you just graduated. And so I got a couple questions for you on that is what was your major and like what's your medium you prefer to like be an arty guy with?
It's cool you knew the word medium. Yeah, so I went to the Kansas City Art Institute. It's off the plaza on the Missouri side. And my medium was, I was a printmaker. But I went into graphic design first, and I switched out into a more tactile department because I didn't like using computers all the time. I wanted to use my hands and learn some processes, and yeah, it was intense.
Cool. So your dad's telling us you got a great commission here. So what you working on here in Seward?
Yes, very cool. There is a wall down on the square by the courtyard in Seward, and it's a pretty big wall. It's 14 by 70 feet, and I'm just doing a mural that says Seward, and each letter is a different symbol, and it's historical, and had to do a lot of research to figure out which symbols to use. So,
But you're creating the design yourself?
yeah, I'm working with Melissa Hendricks in town, and she had a vision for it, and so I can't take all the credit, but we worked together to really pull out what's important to the town and the people and the history, and it was hard work.
All right, cool stuff.
It's gonna be sweet.
Gonna be sweet.
You should learn how to do like truck painting, like paint the symbols on the trucks. I definitely could use you to do that on a couple of mine.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Some amateur graffiti or something like that.
So,
Doesn't pay very well. High risk, low reward.
all right, well, moving on to somebody with a fine arts degree to somebody with a coarse arts. Dylan, what you got going on?
I am about 2 days away from getting drywall up in one of my houses.
You have 3 right now, correct?
I have 3 right now, and I'm about to unload 2 of them here in the next about 3 months. So I'm really excited about that. Drywall's going up in this one. We'll get it hopefully finished up here by the end of the month, if not the very beginning of next month, and get it on the market. And it shouldn't last too long out there, given the way market is. And then we're starting to create our little homestead out up north where we're moving to. So we're already getting plans made for a chicken house that's going to be minimum maintenance. So I'm going to run like a gutter system off of it into a 55-gallon drum, so that way they can constantly have water pumping into their system, and then creating a automatic feeding thing, as well as we started planting some fruit trees out there, and basically getting ready for the famine that's coming.
Okay.
Right.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So you got about a year to get ready for it. So.
Yeah,
So we meet at your house when it really
exactly.
hits the fan.
When stuff hits, I just got a new smoker and pellet grill combo, so we can preserve a lot of foods.
So Lewis, you and I will offer security. For food.
Absolutely, because we know that Staplehurst is
Yeah, we talked about this in the past.
stabby town.
That's what they've been said.
Hey, there's different medications available in Staplehurst.
It ain't biscuits that they're cooking. I'll just say that.
Biscuits.
No, it's a great town. Just teasing.
But all right, Lewis, what you got going on?
Dude, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be with my son. This is pretty awesome. Sitting across from him, it's kind of like looking at my younger, more handsome self over there. I know you guys are already thinking that, but
Actually, I just keep thinking he looks like an older version of Henry.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's true. He does look like an older version.
it's
of
been a
him.
great week though. Like, there's just been a lot going on. You know, we got Lewis kids graduating from school. We got my daughter is continuing to drive to Lincoln she's got a great internship this summer with the USDA. She's actually been on a tractor, learned to drive a tractor, which is pretty cool. And luckily, she knew how to drive a stick, which is a very important thing for all
So she's working for the
all
man.
millennials to know.
She is working for the man.
For a while.
Yeah.
She'll use them, for the resume. But
Okay.
that-
Aaron's
I shouldn't
looking
say
for
that
a
probably.
hiring spot though.
But yeah, there you go. But, Henry's playing baseball, and Finley is just having a great time. She's following. She's still singing, taking music lessons all summer.
Yeah, when's she gonna go on The Voice?
She's just content singing for the church right now, man. So
All right, cool.
appreciate that.
So my life's been pretty boring. I've just been sitting in a tractor and a sprayer a lot. Yesterday was pretty sweet, I guess, for in the farm nerdy world, because we had both sprayers going and we covered a lot of acres, more acres than we ever covered in a day.
Really?
And I'm not, it's not a contest between my uncle and I, but mine is bigger.
I see.
Sprayer. So yeah, I covered. Yeah, but
You're getting tan.
You rub that in? Or
yeah,
what?
yeah. The farmer's tan's coming in strong.
Nice.
So
You're sitting in air conditioning when you're doing this, aren't you?
oh yeah.
Oh, I mean,
It's called modern farming.
I
Air
figured.
conditioning's been around since the 70s, which I know for you is not that long ago.
That's
but
true.
Before I was born.
That's-
yeah,
that's
what part
my-
of the 70s. My old truck does not have AC on it. It has open the windows up, and that's your AC.
That's because it was a Econo truck in the 70s.
It's not an Econo truck. Well, I guess it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I didn't have a car with AC until I was probably Nate's age, 23-ish.
But was that
out of college.
because it did not have AC or because the AC no longer worked?
It's because AC
No,
hadn't been invented
I was
yet.
just and I was
Wait.
just cheap. I bought cheap cars that didn't have AC.
Did they even have cars before you were his age?
I mean,
Like Model Ts, I guess.
Fred
but
Flintstone style.
steam engines. Steam engines.
steam
Yeah.
engines.
Yeah.
A lot of humidity in those trucks.
So, but yeah, the main reason, Nate, we had to bring you in is actually like we try to have a diversity of age and like thought here.
Gotcha.
And Dylan has aged out of being young, so
Yep.
I'm old now, boys.
He's 30.
he's 30. So we had to bring in some young blood to kind of help with that demographic. But first things first, we do have a bottle sitting in front of us.
Sweet.
Yep. Ben Lewis, do you want to?
You betcha. Tonight we have a Jack Daniel's Triple Mash. It is a blended straight whiskey, a bonded American malt, rye, and Tennessee whiskeys. It is 100 proof, bottled in bond, which is important. Who's ready for a pour here?
Yep.
Ooh.
Not bad.
All right. We do have a sponsor for this, so we will jump into that real quick. Nate, would you do that read?
You betcha. This bottle is brought to us by Tactical Snow Globes. Do you love snow globes, but are tired of being called a beta male, hipster, or other boomer derogatory terms? This is the answer. Tactical snow globes encased in an actual hand grenade or mortar shell. But untwist the bottom to see a beautiful handmade snow globe. Filled with snowmen, town scenes, villages, or bottles of Rebel bourbon with fluffy snow floating around them. Also available are empty tactical shells that are ready to encase your existing globes. Now people will just think you are a little too into war as they examine your man cave decor. But we all know you are just compensating for your beta-ness. Tactical snow globes. Just because you may be a pansy doesn't mean everyone has to know.
All right. So we thank our sponsor for this bottle.
Well done.
Do we not have that little?
That little sounder.
Yeah.
We don't. I had to give up room for all this other cool stuff.
Not
I
bad.
tend to identify as a Beto male.
Don't get out of my house. Get out of my house. Get out of my house.
Are you coming for our AR-15s, Beto?
All right, we got.
I just watched that Steven Crowder the other
Yeah.
day.
Before we go into the tasting of this, I forgot to ask Nate. Nate, this is a question everybody has to answer. What is your favorite firearm to just go to the range and shoot? So you get free rounds. You got a couple hours. You're just going to shoot at the range with free rounds. What's your favorite firearm?
I had a lot of fun shooting the Walther P30. Does that sound right?
H&K P30.
H&K.
H&K.
There you go.
I have had some Walthers, though.
Yeah, I like pistols.
You're a pistol guy. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's minimal. And yeah.
I'd probably say, knowing Nate, he's going to be a guy that has a revolver someday because he loves the beauty of
Just get the judge.
the mechanical things.
I don't know. I mean,
You can dig that.
yeah, or like old 1911 dude, like
Yeah.
customized out. Or actually, my uncle Rod, so he's really big into like restoring old guns.
Yeah.
He's it's not the PPK, but what's the precursor to that? Is like when it's still a 32 ACP. I think it's just a Walther PP. but
Oh.
he's restoring one for a dude. Like it was his grandpa brought it back from Germany from World War II, whatever. And he's changing out the barrel because the barrel's shot, but he's not redoing it like just like make it look new, but just getting it functional again.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool. Just I mean, them older World War II era guns, just the
They're a
func-
piece of art.
They
yeah,
are.
and the functionality of it's like because everything's milled out for a purpose. It's just really cool.
And it's all very mechanical. Like
Yeah.
today, everything is so scientific, like so technologically advanced that it's almost like the new computers of today, where it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. But like when you'd see like an ancient Greek like sundial, you're like, that thing was amazing. How did somebody come up with that? And it's so simple. But
Yeah.
you look at like the old, like you look at old Smith and Wesson like rifles and old Smith and Wesson revolvers, or like a repeater or something like that, and you're like, that thing is truly a piece of art, and the ornateness they put into the metal.
Or like in architecture, you look at, like you go to an old house and see crown molding. It's amazing.
Like seriously, like
But I can go buy like a computer stamped it out at Menards, and it's like it's just trash.
yeah, Eastern European architecture is some of the most like 'em or hate 'em, Russian architecture is some of the most beautiful buildings of all time.
Yeah,
I
actually-
want to go to St. Petersburg and Moscow so bad just so I can see all that.
Whatever.
Out, like before the whole like Russia war thing.
Yeah.
Okay, comrade.
What I always wanted to do was the River of the Czars tour, like the Viking tour, the river tour.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. But anyways, we do have a bourbon to review here. So
Let's hear it.
we got this triple mash Jack Daniels. Now, one thing I will say about the bottle is because I think they were trying to hit a price point, they did take 50 milliliters out of the bottle. It's only a 700,
seven,
not a
which is
750. So it's
kinda-
not even a fifth.
And it looks like just the good old number 7.
It does.
when you look at it.
But then you're like, it's just a little smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that going to weigh into your judgment of the
No, I'm just letting people know when they look at it, they do realize it's not a fifth. It's a sixth.
I don't think I need to pour Coke on this one though, like I do the old number 7.
Oh, number 7's not a bad whiskey, but this is definitely better.
I do love the smell of this. I'm not a Jack Daniels guy, and I love the smell of this.
So what do you get on that nose?
Honey. I get a lot of honey. Get a lot of
I get
oak
sweetness.
malt.
Sweet, yeah. See, I'm picking up dark fruit. You know, like there's that cherry, or maybe even more like a raspberry or like a boysenberry.
Boysenberry. What about schnozberry?
Schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Yeah, when you said your Uncle Rod, I was going to say Farva.
Ramathorn.
Ramathorn.
Cart Ramrod.
And I almost smell like pine on it.
Like a gin?
No, like a piece of wood.
Okay.
It smells delicious.
It's very oily.
Yeah, it does coat the glass.
I don't know. Do you guys catch that strong honey?
I don't.
If you let it keep it a little bit away from your nose,
Yeah, from a distance, I get
a
that.
lot of honey.
Closer up, I see the fruit.
Yeah, I get the dark fruits, and honestly, I pick up like I've mentioned this before with some other bourbons, but I can smell tea. Mm-hmm. Like Earl Grey, like
Yeah.
tea.
Yeah, like a
It's
black tea.
It's a pretty like dark sun tea looking bourbon. Whiskey, excuse
Which,
me.
I mean, I'd hope most of them do look like that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the
Doesn't look watery.
palate here. It's definitely heavy on the tongue
It is.
in a good
Yeah.
way.
It bites you that first sip.
Yep.
It is sweet.
Very
I
sweet.
to me the palate and the nose mirror pretty well. I'm
Yes.
picking up that dark fruit. I'm picking up like that dark raspberry or a heavy cherry. I'm not, but it's a dark fruit, sweetness, and honestly, I'm getting RC Cola a little bit again.
Royal Crown Cola.
Oh yeah, it's just like it's like a really good RC Cola, like a cherry. If RC Cola would just be smart and make a cherry cola, like a dark cherry cola, I'm getting a little bit of that.
We don't need that though. We have wild cherry Pepsi.
RC is so much better than Pepsi.
Oh, I don't know, man.
I'm a Coke guy.
I like regular Coke versus
Dude,
regular Pepsi.
No.
Yeah.
Coke literally has a bottle out now that says "Try not to be so white." So you can't be a Coke guy anymore.
Good thing I have Native in me.
Native what?
Native American. Iowa Sioux.
Yeah, you and Elizabeth Warren.
I have more than her. I have more than her.
One how much of a
I have 1/500th. No, I think my grandma was half.
Okay.
okay.
Half German, half Native. Iowa
That's pretty
Sioux.
legit then.
She was allowed to have bald eagle feathers and all that stuff at her house, so she was pretty legit. Like, and has a bunch of like Russian nesting dolls of Native Americans, and used to tell me when I was a kid that they used to sense spirits they wanted to be gone. So if they're looking at you, that's why. And then one day she woke up real early to open up her bar. Imagine a Native American opening a bar and owning a bar. And she decided to surround my little bed in her A-frame cabin that she lived in with those little dolls. And it terrified the ever-living dog stomp out of me.
Oh
'cause
yeah.
She came home. I didn't leave that bed for like 3 hours. Peed my pants in it. I was like 7. And then she took me out to get ice cream, and we went catfishing and carp fishing the rest of the day, and
Cool.
told me she was sorry and she wouldn't do it again. It was a fun story.
All right, back to the bourbon. So,
Sorry, I had to fill in there.
That's
I
fine.
had some filler.
what do you guys got? Anything else on the palate?
I got like syrup over waffles.
Ooh.
Okay.
Look at the ringer. The new guy just feeling his oats.
Yeah, which is I was actually going to say like a burnt sugar. I get a little bit in the backside, so that would go with that. Yeah.
That alcohol hits really hard on that first sip, but then once you get past that first sip, it's almost like it's not even there.
Gotta go to the third sip every time, man.
It's like it's not even there. But I loved the alcohol wasn't like too strong. Like my nostrils weren't burning. You could just taste it on your tongue, and by sip 2 or 3, it's like it's not even in there.
Yeah, that first sip lingered and felt hot for a while.
Yeah.
Second and third, it just drinks really nice.
Anything else on the palate? Otherwise, we got the finish yet. To me, no. All right. So the finish, I think that the finish is very like what's adding to the complexity of this whiskey. I guess it's not really a bourbon. To this whiskey is so you get that sweet we're talking about up front, the syrupy, burnt sugar, cherry, but then it transitions and it kind of dries out at the end, and I get the oak and I get the malt on the finish. And the rye spices, some that tingling, a little bit of minty rye-ish kind of finish. So to me, like this is it for being 100 proof. It doesn't drink like 100 proof. It does drink sweeter than that and easier.
I think so too.
But the complexity is pretty nice. Where I get that sweetness and I let it sit and it dries. It's spicy at the end a little bit or tingly, malty, and it pulls the moisture forward out of my mouth to change that flavor profile, which I really like. So. I think the finish is good, and it's got a decent linger to it.
I like it too.
I think the drinkability is kind of dangerous, like the Old Scout, where, like I said, that first bite hits you, but then after that, it's so smooth that it doesn't taste like I'm drinking alcohol.
So that's why it's a small bottle, so you can
Yeah.
get yourself in trouble.
We might kill this bottle. I mean, I know it's only 700, but
It's
gonna be.
gonna
gone.
go gone pretty quick.
We got to put some in the affinity bottle, so don't drink it all.
All right.
Okay.
fine.
Just saying.
I guess.
All right. Anything else on the finish, guys? That was just me talking. What do you think?
No,
I think it's lovely.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Very smooth. I don't drink bourbon, but yeah, very smooth.
All right. So, all right, Nate. So I don't know if your dad's told us or told us. Yeah, I don't know if he told you our scoring here. So we're not like school. A 50 is a true average. Like so. And if it's average, it's 50. So to us, a Ford Mustang GT is a 50 because it's an average car.
A Ford Mustang 289 is average. A GT is not average.
A GT is average.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got to think how much better you can get than a Ford Mustang GT and how much worse. And you got to have equal on both sides. So a Ford Mustang GT
100 is a GT40 from the Le Mans.
from the Le Mans.
Honda minivan's probably 30.
23.
I'd say 28. 28.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Honda
28.
Odyssey.
An Odyssey.
Honda
What was
Odyssey.
your first car, Nate?
The Honda Odyssey family minivan.
I
All right.
love the Odyssey.
What do you
That thing
drive?
was-
What do you drive now?
Now I drive a 04 Toyota Matrix.
So what would you put that at? What's your score?
Below the Odyssey, I'd say the Matrix B maybe like a 27.
Okay, so it's a
Really?
It's still better than Barton's
yeah, not Barton
or old Bart
And that
Scout.
South Dakota one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so guy Lewis, what do you score
Score?
on this? Yep,
I really like this one. It's a 72 for me.
72. All right, Dylan,
Hey, that's pretty good.
what are you giving this?
He took the words right out of my mouth. Like I said before, this kind of is dangerous like the Old Scout. Not trying to compare bourbons, but this one could get dangerous. So I'm going to give it a 72 as well.
72.
Nice.
All right, Nate.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback 72 as well.
All right, 72. That's 72 strong. That's a
Where you
strong
at?
score.
He's going to be at 65.
No, I'm not that low. I was actually thinking 69.
Nice.
Yeah. I totally get that now.
yeah. So
I'm gonna change my answer.
All of us 69.
so that is my score on that.
Good year.
Yeah, it was a good year. All right. So let's move into discussion for tonight. And honestly, guys, tonight I don't have like a super like deep theological thing I want to talk about. It's been a lot of stuff going on, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. We've had the shooting that's been took place down in Texas, Uvalde, whatever how you pronounce that town. We've got what started today, the 3rd, so it's 2 days ago. The 1st, we started this whole like Pride Month thing, and all like there's crazy stuff coming out in the papers about that, and all the people pushing it and the pro that.
Honestly, I haven't seen anything about Pride Month this year. I haven't seen a thing.
Dude, the Marines even put out like pro Pride Month stuff.
Yeah, they're the Marines.
They put
I'm
out
not worried about it.
Didn't they put out a magazine with a bunch of different colored bullets in it?
No, it was okay. You remember what's the movie with the drill sergeant? Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket.
So they basically
Donut pile.
Yeah, well, but Joker's helmet that
Yeah.
says whatever said on it. They took that, but the bullets they made them the rainbow flag, and it says "Love is love" on the helmet. So they had that going on, and a bunch of like Culver's even put out like a huge pro like Pride thing. So I can't go to Culver's anymore, but all this crazy stuff. But you got all this going on. Then you had another shooting yesterday that's not making the news because it doesn't meet the whole.
Was it stopped by an armed citizen?
No, it was just not a white person doing the shooting.
Not the narrative.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Gotcha.
And there's just, but yeah, there's all this kind of stuff like that going on. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about, we've been talking about how we're supposed to view people as Christ sees them, and what is the response to this. And, last time we had a discussion with differing opinions on.
Yeah, I just want to be clear. I didn't really differ from you guys, and I did love y'all afterwards, and I wasn't going to leave the podcast.
There's always love, dude.
Yeah, there's always love, but
Love is love.
hey, we just thought it was weird that you were like, I'm not crying, and you stood in the corner for 30 minutes. We thought that was weird.
I had an allergy.
Okay.
Okay, the corn pollen's up.
No,
He wet his
it's not
pants.
even knee high yet.
He wet his pants. Okay,
Stop it.
Big deal.
It's spring.
Peeing your pants is cool.
But so I just kind of wanted to like go into that, and just kind of build on this. Like, how do we like approach this? And honestly, like, we're gonna have to start making really real decisions very soon. Of like when we're called to give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and honor Caesar and all this stuff, and
Did Caesar rule under a monarchy, or did he rule under a democratic republic?
he's a monarchy,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Give unto the people what is the people.
right? So what if the Constitution changes?
That would have to happen for me to.
Yeah,
Abide
so
by that.
we'll get there, but that's what we're going to talk about, right?
Okay.
That's what we're going to get to. So I want to start off with. So I'm I'm removed a long ways from being around normal people, right? Because I'm a farmer, so I'm around farmers and you guys.
We're not normal, or what are you saying?
No. And
Oh, I get it.
yeah, so Nate, you're going to be our plumb line for culture on this, okay?
Okay.
So
Yeah, Nate, you're a big freak, so we want.
no,
we want-
not that. But so when I was in college,
sideshow in here.
it's been 20 years since I was in college, right?
Yeah.
And when I was in, has it been that long? Yeah, it has. So when I was in college,
Hey, dude,
we were
you're old.
I remember having to
Damn.
fight against like the culture a little bit. And I went to a college that like 60% of the students were going into the military, right? And we still had I remember like students standing up being like telling professors like, if you don't like America, go back to Nigeria, stuff like that, right? He didn't go. He stayed. But
Most
stuff like
of those
that.
guys come from Nigeria to fight in the army to become a citizen.
No, this guy did not. He was our math teacher. But anyways,
Oh, I met like 7 of them when I was in.
oh, so
They were
no,
actually really cool guys.
the school I went to. Most of the people who were not going in the military were from other countries because they could afford to go there. Those of us who could not afford had to go to the military, so the military pay for us to go there.
Ah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
ROTC scholarship. Yeah. So, anyways, Nate, how much different is, or I should say, how prevalent is the culture that we see in the news and that kind of stuff in universities as opposed to what we see in Seward, Nebraska, or small town Nebraska, I should say?
Yeah. Education is it's moving in a weird direction. I think we're kind of at a crossroads where the role of the student is overpowering the teacher. I think it's kind of like we have this idea that like we're all learning together, but we're definitely not. Like I don't think everybody learns at the same speed, and nobody observes at the same speed either. And I don't know if this is making sense, but where I went to school, it definitely felt like the students ruled over the teachers, and they did. Like if a teacher, said, "Hey, be quiet, you're in my class," that would be a hate crime. And so that's not answering your question.
No, it actually kind of is.
It is.
So,
It's talking about the severity of the sensitivity of people.
well,
nowadays.
Yeah.
So let's dovetail this into Uvalde, because I think it's. I was talking with one of our previous sponsors, D-Wad, right?
Got you.
And we were talking about and we were talking about police forces and what's going on. And so we've had what's happened in the last 6 years has been get rid of all police. All police are bad, right? Defund them. They were poor funded to start with.
The problem is we can't police our own communities anymore either. And that's their whole thing was defund the police, we can police our own communities. And we saw from Uvalde, there was plenty of armed parents that were ready to go in and fight for their kids' lives and for every other
The
kid's
police
life.
stopped 'em.
And the police stopped them.
Right,
There's
but-
so many red flags with that whole
Oh
situation.
man.
Right. But so what we were talking about though is we had a bunch of police officers, and so it goes back to leadership. So leadership, the captain is the main, is the first person you blame, right? But then you go down from there is like you sign up for this job, like you go do it. Like active shooting is you go into it. You eliminate the shooter first and foremost, and then you figure it out. But what we've got what D-Watt was telling me is like the police forces all over the country, they're all pulling out of the same pool of people who want that. And that pool is drastically drying up because there's no pay, and now there's no honor in it because you get, all this other stuff. And so the only people who are taking the job are either have ulterior motives or unqualified.
I'd say the majority are unqualified. I think the ulterior motives that you might be hinting at are far more few and far between.
No, I agree. But I'm saying those are the two types of people taking it.
Yeah.
So as a security guy, I mean, when you watch that story unfold, do you think it was a question of fear, or do you think it was a question of training on that? Because I felt like they were just like, "Oh, we're not going in there."
Fear.
I thought it was fear too.
Because parents who had no training.
They were ready to
Ready to go.
storm the place.
It takes certain people of intestinal fortitude, and I think they're kind of giving anybody who's willing to take the time to go through what I think is already a pretty soft academy now a badge.
Well, and then, but like what we were also talking about too, though, is, and this goes back to what you're talking about, Nate, is he was talking about like and you see this in the military and whatever else, is like you have to constantly pat people on the back, right? Like, oh, you did a good job. Thanks. Hey, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks. You did a good job there, man.
there was a cycle of kids that came in right after I was going through training.
Oh, conveniently right after you.
No, like they were like there. They got there like 2 weeks after we did.
Yeah.
So we were seeing them the whole time, and we were getting to the end of like our training, and we were sitting next to them in chow line, getting ready to go through the defect, and they were sitting there all disappointed and upset, and oh man, we got smoked so hard today. It's like, oh, what happened? Oh, someone snuck some peanut butter out of the defect yesterday, and they got caught. They smoked us for a whole 20 minutes.
Oh.
And that's exactly what we're like. Oh, that's cute.
Dude, they drive you to sneak peanut butter out of the
Right?
defect. That's they want you to.
They want to smoke you, and you're getting paid to work out. Essentially, that's what kids did.
Yeah.
But it was like 20 whole minutes of smoke session. I'm like, really?
Yeah, but-
That's what we're getting upset about now.
But see, I think we're seeing this with the police then too, is this idea that you can't, there is no, like for instance, it used to be like, why would I say good job when all you did was the job I pay you for?
Yeah, exactly. What you're expected to do.
If you go above and beyond that, I'll give you that a boy. But if you're just doing what is required of you for pay,
They're applauding police officers for getting cats out of trees nowadays. They're playing basketball with kids on the street. They're not applauding police officers for doing their job.
and then this goes into
Which sometimes involves violence and
right.
Yeah.
making hard choices.
I don't think the issue is the police forces. I think this is an issue with culture that is
Yeah.
we're seeing via this.
That's what I'm saying.
deal.
The culture is applauding them for doing stuff that everybody's doing on a daily basis.
Right.
But they're like, oh, look, they're not racist. They're playing with the basketball with a bunch of black kids in the inner city. It's like, they probably do that on a regular basis anyways, but you guys demonize them so much to the point now where I have two unpopular solutions for this whole police thing that I've thought long and hard about. And one is triple their funding so that way they have way better training. They have way more people that want to come into the whole situation.
Great
At which
equipment.
credit given to Jocko Willink. He's the one that really opened my eyes to a lot of that stuff because of that. Or defund them completely and privatize security. I mean, we do private securities for our banks. We do private securities for all of our intellectual property. Why aren't we doing that for our kids?
I do.
People want about that.
We but I'm saying at a
True.
normal school.
My kids have security at their school.
They do.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So those are my two solutions to this whole thing.
But what's the solution to the cultural issue that's driving it?
Let them see some really bad stuff like they just saw in Uvalde. I think a lot of people's hearts are changing a little bit because of that.
What do you think, Nate?
Ooh, I feel like it's a laughing stock. Like I think people would just be like, oh, the police aren't doing their job. They didn't save the day. But it's like you don't back the police, so of course you're gonna say that in response to a school shooting.
True.
Everyone's looking for blame or something to blame because I don't know, life is suffering, and I wish we could all just understand that.
That it's not perfect and there are evil people that'll do stupid crap like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, embrace the suck, right?
But
Embrace the suck.
But you don't think that just taking all the guns away is a good idea? Or
Based on history,
No.
I've never seen a moment in history where they took all the guns away and it came out good.
oh my goodness.
So there's
It's like
a,
the precursor to every mass.
actually it's not though.
Murder
I mean it
ever.
is, but do you know what always comes before taking the guns?
Propaganda.
dividing,
well, I mean, yeah.
dividing the people and
Nope, before that. Well, that's actually part of it. Is the first thing you do is you whittle away religion.
the morality and the
Yep.
And-
Which we've seen a lot of that. Although, again, like I stated in the really cool vehicle we drove earlier today, the Nissan Xterra,
yeah.
Ooh.
I've never met more Puritans than I have nowadays that would prefer to have sex on camera on a music video, basically.
Puritans.
Puritans in the sense of you say one bad word, you say one wrong thing, throw you on the throw
So
you
not,
on the
not
spike.
actual Puritans.
No, yeah, no.
I was like, what?
Well, that's
no.
nothing new. People are always going to like
It was a
set,
sarcastic term.
set the bar nice and high for everybody and low for themselves. That's just
I feel like
people.
it's exacerbated now with social media.
You're probably
Oh
right.
yeah. I think that we are. So here this is somebody. Or I heard this today on the something. I don't know. I listen to a bunch of dumb stuff all day, but
Mug Club?
no, it wasn't Mud Club.
While you're sitting in the air conditioning, letting the thing steer itself, and
The Springer I gotta drive,
okay,
but most of the time. But no, the question was. So all the stuff we see going on, like the with the shooting, so we have. I mean, and just the violence that's. I mean. How many people every day get assaulted in New York City, Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City, all these places, right? How much meth is made in Staplehurst every day? I don't know. But
Like 3 grams max.
no. But and then
There's more meth in Seward than there is in Staples.
probably
Population.
they can afford to buy it.
Utica
Seward
even
can.
more.
that's the market.
Yeah.
How do you think they bought their new school?
We
Utica.
don't have a new school.
Your school's really nice and pretty new.
It's not new.
Your school's built on meth, Aaron.
My parents went to that
Your
school.
school is built on meth.
My parents are old.
Stop lying to yourself.
It probably
it's
is.
a meth school, Aaron.
Probably.
All the kids are mules.
My kids don't go there.
They're all
I don't care. like, but and then looking at like the pride parades, there was I'm a semi quoting articles, but there was one today that was basically like if you take your kids to these pride parades, but you need to prepare them for seeing things they have not normally seen, like naked adults and kink,
Why should we have to prepare them for that?
I don't even
right
want to
now?
because your kids don't know what that is.
Yeah, but they're also doing things at the Pride Parade, like allowing 10-year-olds to drag
Oh,
queen strip dance.
Right. I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying these articles are their where
They're
our
trying to
culture is.
condition and groom people into saying this is okay, this is fine.
No, I will just not be there with my kid.
Right.
Period.
Well, then you're a bigot.
No. Okay.
I'm fine with that if you want to call me that.
No, I mean, yeah, that's fine too.
You
but
call me a bigot?
I'm saying that's their defense if you don't go.
I'm kidding you.
Okay.
It's no winning. Sorry.
Yeah.
They drive me nuts.
We're sidetracking here a little bit. What I was trying to say is with these articles and what we see going on, are we seeing the signs of a and we'll bring it back to biblical perspective on this? Is this a the signs of a culture that is about to receive judgment of being turned over to the depraved minds, or is this the signs of a culture that is in the judgment of being turned over to its depraved minds?
I will keep saying, like I said before, I'm seeing a shift back the other way. I think we have been living the last 4 to 6 years in that judgment of the depraved minds, and I'm starting to see people wake up and snap out of it.
Do you think? Okay, this is where I agree that people are waking up, but where I differ from your interpretation of that is I think that people are waking up and God is calling the church, and those who are not called out are being motivated and driven, and that's what the people are seeing coming awake, and that is a response and fully separate from the judgment of the culture by God. See, like I think the two can happen at the same time.
They have to at one point at least. I mean, in order for the transition to take effect.
Well, but what I'm not sure of, because I'm not a prophet, haven't been.
I've been told you are the prophet Noller.
No, they lied. Yep, I'm not a prophet. But when I look at history, I wonder, like, okay, so there was a strengthening of the church in Jerusalem, and then God scattered them and destroyed the city.
But it strengthened his kingdom.
Right, but God's kingdom has nothing to do with this country.
I mean, you're saying stuff that's happening right now. We're going through potentially a peaceful divorce here very soon, which wouldn't end up not being peaceful.
Who?
The states.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about yourself. I was like,
America's not the Holy Land. Obviously, we're not the place of pious and righteousness. I mean, we're basically the modern day Sodom and Gomorrah here in this country. But
They don't teach that in school.
No, they don't. But you're starting to see that separation, that dissolution of the states themselves, and you're going to see the complete and total polarization until we hit that violent civil war. But I do see more and more people who, like Nate, not to throw you under the bus, who drank the Kool-Aid throughout college, are now starting to snap out of it and say,
was it grape?
Trying to think of the gayest flavor.
Ooh,
It might be grape.
Or Hawaiian Punch? Yeah.
it was a rainbow. Let's just say.
But people, I genuinely see a lot of people waking up, and maybe they're waking up in fear because now they're starting to have kids, or they're starting to look at an actual future, a longevity of life, rather than like climbing some social ladder anymore. But I am seeing that snap and that separation at all time. There are some lost souls who are just going to stay lost, no matter how much you try to talk sense into them or beat it into them. It's never going to happen. So I do see what you're seeing as the crumbling of a society happening right now. I think the United States of America are now going to be this, like, a small portion of what they are now. I don't think we're going to be the 50 states in the next 10 years. I think we're going to be separated.
I agree with that.
But I definitely see the culture shifting in a lot of people's eyes who used to be so vehemently a certain way. Politically, I would say not even leftists, because leftists actually agree with a lot of righties on a lot of things. Just economics is the only real big difference. I would say liberals, the liberal ideology.
Yeah, and
The
so
classic liberal, maybe.
Classical liberal,
Not
I'd
the guys
consider
running
conservative.
the.
Well,
Conservative is a classical
Bill
liberal.
Mayer's about to be pushed to the right.
He is about to.
But-
Jordan Peterson was pushed to the right, and he's
But-
a liberal guy.
We got to be careful too to not, as Christians, not always go back to left versus right.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to be binary.
It is. It's extremely hard. But we are, and honestly, like, this is something that I'm currently working through in my own life. Is making sure that I am looking at America biblically, and not trying to take this American ideology and force Christianity to fit within it.
But you're seeing how history
Right.
rhymes by looking at the Bible and saying, crap, our culture's doing the same thing.
Right. And so my question though is when we see history rhyming through all these things, and we see how the church reacts to it, did the church get it wrong every time? Because a lot of times we see them do the same thing they're doing now, or is that the order it goes? Or I mean, it's just weird thing to look at. So, like,
I think the church is getting it more wrong now. After our last conversation where you said they're having drags go out and evangelize.
yeah, but see, I wouldn't call that the church. So I'm talking big C church, not little C church.
I would say I don't know what the Big C Church is doing.
See, my problem is the Big C Church is not organized. But I don't know if that's because of my personal mindset, and I'm like a very organized, like this is how it should be. Like let's have organization so we can move in this, or is that the way God wants to have it? I'm still trying to work that out too.
And sorry, I don't mean to cut
No,
you
I,
off.
Let Ben go.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I was like, obviously we talked about this many times. Politics ain't gonna solve crap in this country. It's not gonna call. It's gonna not gonna solve anything in this world. You know, the only thing it's gonna solve is the absolute truth. You know, and why be surprised that the Big C Church is divided or messed up? Because it's made up of fallen humans like you and me. You know, who put their own thing first, argue, bicker, fight. You know, get drunk on power, whatever the case is, you know, give in to the pressures that are coming so hard every day, you know, to allow, you know, to embrace, you know, the drag queen church or whatever the case is, you know, obviously God loves them all. We want them all there. We want them to be saved, but they're really not there to embrace their faith or really understand grace. They're there to make a mess, or they're there for even worse reasons. I don't know.
Would you consider them like Satan working his little minions through them and being deceivers? The great deceivers who are wolves in sheep's clothing? Because, you know, their message that we talked about last time was, you know, Jesus loves everyone, and that's why they're doing that. But wouldn't that be exactly what Satan would want people to do, is to misinterpret and pervert the word?
The way Satan works is by taking 99% truth, putting 1%
Sure.
falsehood there and get you off track. So, Nate, when you're looking for, when you are how do I put this? Do you think the church, so the Big C Church, right,
Okay.
has failed to, for your generation and the one below, you know, that's coming up behind you, failed to instill or preach or teach what it means to be a man and how to keep the tenets of the church pure?
I would say that I'm blessed because I grew up differently than a lot of people I know that think it's just all bogus. But and for that reason, I'm gonna say yeah, I do. I think we got astray from what this is all about, and that, you know, I don't know. Geez, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
You're going to piss somebody off no matter what you say.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm definitely not worried about that. All of you, but
The first F-bomb
Yeah,
by my son.
I just to what it means to be a man. I think it's something that is like seems today like it's something that's like you're not supposed to mess with almost. Like you're not. It's you don't have to worry about the progress of becoming or the process of becoming a man because you shouldn't anymore. It is like scary. We've made it something to be afraid of. So yeah, I don't know if that's Big C Church's responsibility, but we're definitely pretty far off from what it's about, and just scripture. So yeah, I would say that's failure.
Yeah.
Maybe the Big C Church hasn't embraced the idea of manhood and, you know, and what it means to be someone who is strong and loves his family and leads it, but also gives in, you know, to his Father in heaven and relies upon him for everything, which is what he gives us.
Yeah. I going back to the beginning of this, we were talking about people needing a constant, you know, pat on the back. And
Do you need one right now?
no, I don't.
Okay.
No. I have no feelings. We've gone over this.
We've established that.
But what I started thinking about though
If you
is
beat him in Golden Tee, he does have feelings.
it
I've
hasn't-
yet to find out.
it hasn't happened yet. So
I got close.
once. Yeah.
Once.
But the question though, like when I look at the Bible, is we like Christ tells us we're going to suffer, we're going to have to work. Like, you know, there's these things, and we're not working for salvation. We're not, we're or anything like that. But we're working for Him, and we're suffering because of Him.
Are we
right?
working to be humbled so that way we can appreciate the good things that he gives? Because I always look
No,
at suffering.
we're working to fulfill His mission. I mean, yes, what you're saying, but we were created to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so, but me finish my thought here, and then we can
No, sorry, I don't mean to cut everybody off today. This is just a hot topic that's
Today.
been on my mind.
today. Like this is different. Than
I never cut anybody off.
But as we're working forward, is we run this race, right? And what does like Paul talk about? I mean, it's somewhere, I'm sure. But he says like, when we're done, like Christ will say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." But it's not like every time you do a single thing, he's like, "Good job, man. All right, Aaron, you did good. All right, tomorrow, do good." I don't know. He's got a southern accent. Do good again, right? But
We know he's Southern.
Christ.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is
Southern Israel.
There's Nazareth south of where we're at now? Probably, right?
It's middle.
I don't have.
I don't know.
I don't have a globe.
Everything's going south.
Did you say it's the Middle Earth?
I said it's Middle Eastern.
Oh, I think it's the Middle Earth. I'm like, no, he's not that old. He's not from. He's not from. But I'm derailed. Yeah, some.
I didn't do that time.
I think what's happening is exactly what's supposed to happen, for his people, right? Like we are being forced to rely more on God. We're crying out to him, for everything. We're going, help us make sense of this, Lord. And at the same time, we should be confidently sitting here, relaxing, enjoying each other and having fun and worshiping God, knowing that he already knows what happens in the end. It's going to be good. There's going to be justice, and we're even going to cheer that justice. And that's even hard for a lot of folks to understand, but yes, we're going to be doing that, and it's not going to be that we're cheering, the destruction of souls, unfortunately, but we're going to be cheering that God is a God of promises and he keeps them. And if you put your faith in his son Jesus Christ as your Savior, you're going to get there. And absolutely, the Bible says we're going to suffer here. We're going to get beat on a little bit. We're going to not know what's going on. All of that is meant to bring us closer to him. And maybe that's simple, but that is the truth.
I think the suffering happens so that way we can know what joy truly is.
Right.
Because if we live this life of indulgence and decadence we've been living forever, like we've talked about this since episode 1. If we keep living this life of convenience and easiness and everything is just so instant gratification, we will never know what true joy is. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why we're called to suffer, because if we don't know what pain is, we don't know what joy is.
Yeah, and to recognize to a point, I mean, a very minuscule point, to what Christ, I mean, we are supposed to be Christ to the world. That's what the church is. And Christ came and suffered and died, right? I mean, that's the whole heart of the gospel. Is he came here for a bunch for a bunch of sucky people. He came and died for them. And then we're supposed to show that to the world, but we don't expect to suffer. Like, we don't expect to go through hardship. We don't expect to give up something. Yeah. And we're not doing it and it's not like God's like, okay, I'm going to take this stuff from you because that's what I do. No, he's like, no, like, we understand what Christ did and what he gave up. And so it's nothing for us to give up a little bit, even if we give our lives in this
temporal
thing. Yeah. Like we're what? Farts in the wind, right? We're here done and gone. But when we understand, we can give all this up because we understand what Christ did. And none of this matters one iota compared to eternity. And so that's the suffering is that.
Amen.
But isn't that what he said to his disciples?
You're a fart in the wind?
No, like, don't fear the man that can take your life and your life only.
Yeah.
Fear the man that can take your life and what comes afterwards.
Right. And I think that the decadence, is what's plagued the church here. You know, and there's other cultures, it might have been cultural fear of the government, whatever. I don't really think it's a fear of the government that's stifling the church in America. It's a fear of losing stuff. It's a fear of losing decadence. It's a fear of losing money and easiness. Like, we've had it easy because for the last 200 years, up until about the last 2 or 5, it's literally been a benefit to claim yourself as a Christian in the American life. Like, you live your life, if you say you're a Christian, it helps you out. Why is it that every politician who's been president is like, oh, yes, I'm a Christian.
I'm a Catholic.
And obviously they're not, because they no, by claiming that, but we're going to get to the point where by claiming that you're a Christian, or if you want to, Catholic, whatever, it's going to cause you harm. That's going to finish the separation of the goats from the sheep.
Right.
Which, praise God, let it happen. But real persecution is something we don't really know. We don't.
No. And as badass as you are, Aaron, as badass as you are, Dylan, Nate, I'm weak. Yeah, I'm telling you that we cannot accept that persecution. We can't do it without the strength of God to prop us up during those times. You're sitting here talking. I'm just thinking the Book of Revelation, man. Like, here it comes. We're probably closer than we've been all year.
Well, we're
all day.
Every day we're closer. Like right now is the closest that we've ever been to the return of Christ.
And I'm sure that our grandparents had this same discussion, when they were doing podcasts.
But they were right. When they said it, they were right. That was the closest they'd ever been.
Right. And they thought the world was going to hell in a handbasket. And
it is.
And they were probably right, and I'm sure that we're right. And
I'm afraid that if my grandparents were still alive today, they wouldn't recognize the country that they live in. Because, they were in a
hubbub. I mean, think about your childhood.
No, that's what I'm saying. And my grandparents died at 96, 98 years old. They lived almost a whole century. If they were still alive today, they'd be like 115.
Okay, so, I mean,
it would be insane to see where they went from, where they thought was a big deal was to wear like a poodle skirt, to now you see
like a skirt with a picture of poodles on it?
Yeah, literally, like showing too much leg to the point now where like they're showing above the knee to now where it's like you're
now it's not even to the fingertips.
Now it's not.
That was a rule when I was in high school. Had to go to your fingertips.
Now it's all these kids wearing like I see little girls wearing these crop tops showing their bellies off, wearing shorts where if they like bent over, it would
it gets worse. I've seen little boys wearing that.
I have not.
Lord help us.
Go to Lincoln.
I have seen little boys wearing promiscuous outfits. I'm ashamed to say that.
Messed up.
Yeah. It's pretty gross. I just moved back to rural America from the city. Saw a lot of nasty things.
Yeah.
And
the bad thing is it's not that far away from rural America either.
No.
It's about 25 minutes.
No. I mean, like there are rural counties in this state, more rural than where we live, who are having issues with books and things that are going on in the library and what's being taught in class. So we're not immune from it.
No.
You can't move away from it. You can't get away.
It's a very contagious virus.
Right. And so what we've got to do is how much more pressure then is it on us as parents and Nate, now, I mean, honestly, just as a man, right, that we are so charged with shaping the culture that we can influence, right, as men. Like that's like, why is it the Top Gun Maverick is shattering records?
Because it wasn't political at all.
Because it's not a woke movie.
Yeah, and it's a macho movie. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a chick who's a fighter pilot in it, whatever, right? So that there's the one thing that's not true, right? But I mean, there is fighter pilot women, but okay.
No, it's
gonna sound
it's not true.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, I was like, yeah, like still, like there's an enemy. We're gonna go blow the crap out of it, and it's just a macho movie. It's a good old fashioned, like it's men versus time versus evil.
And honestly, I don't think it could have came at a better time, because I think there's a lot of men out there that are afraid to be men, and so for them to see something like that, and I know going to the scripture is where we need to be, but when it comes to media propaganda, great things like that give guys the inspiration to say, I want to be a man again.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at your childhood. Did Top Gun itself not inspire you to want to be a fighter pilot?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm sorry, like I mean, and I like the first Top Gun. I mean, we talked about this a few weeks ago, whatever, or whenever, but like it is probably my biggest go-to. Like I've got to cheer myself up. I'm in a bad mood movie, and for multiple reasons. One, I love airplanes. It's got great footage, but two, like my two brothers, my dad and I probably watched that movie 500 times together. You know, I'm not even kidding when I say 500 times. Like we would sit down like and watch it over and over. Like we could quote every line. And then so like I was blessed to have a great dad. I mean, I still do have a great dad. It's not like he's dead. I mean, last time I checked. But like so I was like blessed, like I'm blessed to have a great dad. And so we had this but there's this drive to be great, right? To be something. And then as you grow in Christ, it's not that you want to be great, but you want to be used greatly by Christ to show how great he is. And I don't think that's a wrong. So what Christ doesn't destroy ambition. He steers it to
He realigns it.
he steers it to the correct place, you know. And so I still have this desire to do great things, but now my desire is to do great things for the Lord, not for me, you know. Sometimes it's still for me, I ain't gonna lie, but
Well, you're a fallen man.
fallen man. Yep.
And the Hollywood part of Maverick's probably great too. I mean, the first one, you know, there's that great story about just, you know, loving your best friend and wanting to honor him by busting your ass and being the best you can be. That's good. I'm thankful to have y'all here in this room. You know, I feel better because of you guys.
Yeah. I think
I'm not crying. You're crying.
crying.
But anyway,
You too,
I don't know
Pops.
where I was going for that, but you know, yes, there's a lot of great undertones in that movie.
I mean, there's a lot
I
of-
get why you love to watch it with your dad
Yeah.
and your brother. I mean,
So, you know, what's funny is the first time I saw Top Gun is, I went to like a private Christian school until 6th grade. And they were showing the old school BBC, like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe movie because we were supposed to read it. And my parents were like, I wasn't allowed to read the whole Narnia series when I was a kid because it had magic in it. And my parents were like, no, like, we're not going to make magic okay. Like, we're not going to make dark things okay. So some things I disagree with them on.
Bible quite a bit.
Yeah. So my parents were very they were very anti-Disney and anti-magic, and they're like, like, why have fake like supernatural things when we have the Bible and real supernatural things that we
Right
can
on.
look at? So whatever. Like, I'm not in agreement with them on all that, but anyways, so the school was showing the old BBC Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe. I wasn't allowed to go to school that day and watch it, so I got to stay home and watch Top Gun with my dad. Right? He fast forwarded the one scene, you know, of
course.
the spit scene.
Dad, what's he doing to her?
Yeah.
Why is he?
No, and what's funny is, so we had the VHS version of Top Gun, and my dad did this with a lot of movies. He would any like sex scene, so like violence and language, not like
Was there even sex in that movie?
Top Gun.
And there was like a kissing.
Take
scene.
my breath away.
Yeah.
So he would record over the sex scenes the news. So you'd be watching Top Gun, and like she's driving the Porsche, and she jumps the little hill. And they have the argument, and she's like, so I had the whole movie. She's like, I couldn't let anybody see that I've fallen for you, right? Then it starts the sex scene. Nope, we got the 1990 Boise, Idaho weather for 2 minutes, and then boom, back into Top Gun.
Boy, that was a beautiful day, son. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. But what you got over there, Dylan?
Nothing. Sorry.
Okay.
I got something.
I was gonna for after the episode.
Okay.
I think the depravity of masculinity is why there are so many outspoken men on issues that have to do with women. Like, seriously, like, there are a lot of men who are just drilling, like, you know, feminism and just everything, like abortion. Like, men are positioning themselves to think like women because it's not okay to be a man.
It's also not okay to be a woman anymore. I mean,
Well,
they
no,
can't even define what a
Well, you
woman
got
is.
68 choices if you want, so you're.
No, the most manly thing that happens today is you go and become a woman and then take her spot
That's right.
in a sport
Right.
or a position.
That's right.
Yeah, like you know, like so. Does anybody, like, I used to watch Fox News back in the day. I don't watch it anymore because it's gone to crap. But the one like thing about Fox News is they always had like super hot chicks that would just read the teleprompter, right?
Info babes.
Yeah, info babes. Do you know who Fox News' newest info babe is?
Yes.
Who is it?
Jenner.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were on. I say they because I'm still in Kansas City, but he was on the Full Send podcast.
You can say he.
He was on the Full Send podcast. That's a good podcast. Or it's a Nelk video on YouTube.
Full send. Gosh,
When I think full send, I just think of like brapping, like dirt bikes. Yeah.
the Full Send podcast. Who does that one?
Kyle Forjard, Jesse something, but yeah, they had him
think
on.
I've
They
seen
went
them before.
golfing and actually Bruce just whipped these guys. It was pretty fun.
He crushed
Well,
it like
I mean,
400
he
yards.
was an Olympian.
Hey, right on.
Yeah.
I mean, even he himself says that, quote unquote, trans men should not be competing against women. He's like, it's preposterous.
Yeah, but then he also says that it's not their fault; it's culture's fault. No, Bruce, it's your fault because you're the one that
You became Woman of the
mainstreamed
Year,
this thing. Yeah,
and then killed the person as Bruce, and then came back as Caitlyn, and
that's right. That's right. Got out of
got out
murder.
of killing someone.
So, all right, guys. So we cannot fix cultures, but we basically figured out in this this discussion.
Nope, God's gonna have to do
we
it.
must rely on God.
We must rely on God. And what we also must rely on is a little thing that we can get only from God called wisdom. And that's a teaser for the next episode because, guys, I want to talk about wisdom.
I'm out.
Okay.
Oh man,
I can't be a part of that episode.
No, you could listen.
I have nothing to give.
Yeah.
we're going to bring Nate back for this.
Yeah, we'll bring him back.
I'm pretty dumb.
So, but yeah, Rob and Benson. Well, Benson's not back yet, and Rob is. I think he's on vacation. I think he's out. Like,
We'll give him a pass.
yeah, we'll give him a pass. He's with the family. We'll
Miss
give
you
him a pass.
guys.
We miss both of them. We'll have them. They'll be both will be back at some point in time. Maybe not at the same time, but I don't know. But if you'd like to support this podcast, we would really appreciate it. There's a lot of ways you can do it. The first one is to just tell your buddies about it. Like, just tell your friends, hey, there's a bunch of guys in Nebraska that sit down in this basement and talk about nonsense.
The bunker.
The bunker. You should listen to it. So do that. If you do listen on Apple and you want to leave us a review and a rating, 5 stars would be appreciated. A review would be greatly appreciated. Maybe next episode, guys, we'll read one of our reviews.
You know what else too? We should get an Instagram account.
Do we have an Instagram?
Oh,
Yes.
Nice job.
We are now on Instagram.
And Twitter.
And, well, we've been on Twitter.
Just need to remind people.
Yep. We are Manhood Neat on both. Odd. I know. It's like our name or something.
How do we luck out?
Yeah. So Manhood Neat on Twitter or at Manhood Neat on Twitter or on Instagram, both of those things. So Instagram's rolling. We're going to try to put pictures up there from time to time. Also, we still have old school email, which we are so old that I think to the modern generation, email is what snail mail is to us.
it is.
But
Pretty much.
email is out there. You can email us at manhood.neat@gmail.com. Again, that's manhood.neat@gmail.com. You send us, bourbon suggestions, topic suggestions. If you have a difference of opinion on stuff, you can hit us up with that. All kinds of cool stuff. Or you can at info@manhoodneat.com, info@manhoodneat.com. Rob generally checks that one. I generally check the Gmail one. But if you want to get a hold of any of us guys, either email works, and we talk to each other enough, we'll get it figured out. So yeah, hit it up. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, rate and review. And again, we thank you for listening, and we'll catch you guys next time on the Manhood Neat podcast.